The day came on, they did repair in multitudes to Gava Fair. Some travelled 30 miles or more to burn the town of Gava. They all appeared in greatest haste, with handkerchiefs tied round their waist, with their jackets sweeted soundly bass at July Fair in Gava. The Protestants and Orange men like brothers did assemble then, to keep the town was their design, or die like men in Gava. Then Captain Dooley cried, brave boys, maintain your cause and fear no noise. We massacre these Orange boys and burn the town of Gava. He had not turned himself well round when he received a deadly wound. His heels went up and his head went down at the third tree in Gava. We gave the word to clear the street while numbers flew like hunted sheep, when Protestant did Papish meet at Davison's in Gava. But mark what followed this affray, they fought and swore our lives away. To jail we went without delay, we had no guards from Gava. They horrid oaths against us swore, such swearing you ne'er heard before. McCluskey swore for 3 hours or more against the boys of Gava. The judge then he would us condemn, had it not been for jurymen. Our grateful thanks are due to them, for they cleared the boys of Gava. All thanks and praise we tender still to Mr. Prife and brave George Hill. The Beresfords befriend us still, for they cleared the boys of Gava.
Hi folks, yeah, so we had a caller come on the show there, so the very first one, thank you for that. It's not a call that we would bring live on air, it was just a lovely little chat phoning up to see how well the show was going and how excellent he thinks the platform could be for the PUR community, so thanks for that. Ian, I'll hand it over to you for
yes,
a disclaimer.
After that call there, we better read this one out. This is a disclaimer. So, PL Community Radio cannot and will not be held responsible for the views of any panel member, chat room user or caller who participates on any of our broadcasts. Neither can we be held responsible for any content of any external website link that may appear on air or on the chat box. We'd also like to point out that when we're broadcasting prior to the 9 o'clock watershed, that calls are kept within a respectful level of language. Thank you.
Now, what that doesn't mean is after 9 we just turn it into
no.
new depths and beyond.
We would allow a certain amount of double entendres and innuendo, but other than that,
absolutely. What I want to speak about, and I know we said we wouldn't really talk about it on the inaugural broadcast, but it is a big thing. I mean, right now, is 2016 is an important year for many people within the PUR community, and we don't need to go into it. We all know why, as we are very big on our history, we're very big on our respect, remembering our fallen. But what we are seeing right now is something else being celebrated in Britain by a large group of people and getting support from a lot of other organisations, and that is commemorations for the 1916 Easter Rising. Now, you know myself, you know I'm very active in opposing these things, and I'm never off the phone and emailing to get kind of different people to try and get these things stopped.
And getting me to proofread your
statements. Of course, absolutely. I mean, that's a full-time job in itself, but it's a big thing with me. I mean, these things shouldn't be happening in our country. They just shouldn't. There we had the first one of the year held there on the 16th of January, so it was last Saturday, and it was in that lovely little town called Fernigare near Hamilton, and it went pretty much unopposed in terms of kind of having feet out in the street. We contacted, well, when I say we, apologies, Regimental Blues campaign group for the PUR community. They highlighted the fact that it was going on, contacted South Lanarkshire Council, and gave them over a formal objection. And in my opinion, the objection was very strong. It had many valid points in it. I genuinely believed in my heart that this event would be stopped because of just all the facts that we mentioned in it. I was wrong. It didn't get stopped, so we went out to Fernagare with letters for the locals who have homes in Fernagare, highlighting them to the fact that this was going on at their local hall. This is a beautiful little hall, and it's got a little cenotaph outside. It's absolutely beautiful. It depicts a soldier with carrying his rifle. It's very well kept. Absolutely wonderful memorial. So this is standing right outside the hall. And a lot of the locals, after we had put a letter through their door, a lot of the locals were catching us on the way back and coming out and asking more information, and they were quite shocked. Didn't quite understand fully what was going on, but they were quite shocked that it was going on anyway. Some of the locals were quite shocked that members of the PUR community were going to turn up and hold a demonstration. So it was it was mixed feelings. But this did go ahead, this Easter Rising event. They had bands named after terrorists, they had Irish rebel bands, and that's self-proclaimed rebel bands. No, they go about openly calling themselves that, but the council went ahead and says that it's freedom of speech, freedom of expression. They didn't want to be kind of piggy in the middle, so they let this go ahead. Even though all the points were valid, it came down to bottom. They didn't want to be the piggy in the middle, so it went ahead anyway. They booked a hall for 180 people. The Police Scotland confirmed that there was no more than 65 in the venue, so it was obviously a poor turnout from them, which we expected. But my big gripe was we have huge numbers within the PUR community in and around Fernagare. And yes, we kept it a bit late. We only kind of gave 48 hours notice that there was going to be street action there. That was more to do with the council and the police kind of giving us short notice as well. But we turned up there in the night with, it was enough to make a point. But we need more numbers out in the street. It's okay opposing these things from your living room or behind your social media accounts and different things like that. But we really need, and it's not nice, don't get me wrong, no one wants to stand out in the freezing cold, no one wants to put themselves up there in the firing line, but the only way this is going to get defeated is by two prongs of the attack. We need to go on the political side, we need to get the objections in. That's not just a matter of liking a post and saying, well done, gents. It's get your own objection written up. You object to it. You're reading it and you're outraged when you're reading it, this is happening. Turn that kind of feeling of anger into an objection.
You're going to have a lot of people who are going to be perhaps embarrassed at their level of English, grammar, punctuation, etc. like that. Things like that, Chris. So it may be up to us to give a lead. I know that some organisations within the PL community do put, look, there's a draft letter. Copy it, paste it, put your name at the top, put your address at the top and get it sent off. Now, okay, it's going to look as though it's the same one coming through all the time, but these are 100 emails that they've got to open instead of the one email that they've got to open.
Yeah, I mean, it's about being proactive. I mean, even if you know that you cannot partake in street-based activities that are being arranged by various groups, not only Regiment of Blues, there's different groups that do street-based activities all the time. If you know that you are unable for any reason to do this street-based activity, you can still be proactive. A lot of people underestimate the power of an email or a phone call. They really do.
Can I give you my thoughts on the matter, Chris?
Aye, absolutely.
We were talking about the apathy earlier. I was talking about the apathy earlier. And I think perhaps apathy is the wrong thing. Some people sit back and they think, well, I can't do a big thing, so I'm not going to do anything. I could only do a little thing, but that little thing's going to make no difference. If everybody does a little thing, it becomes a big thing. It's, if you've got a big pile of wood that needs to get moved, if everybody picked up one stick and walked with it, that pile's gone. I mean, the Japanese, the ancient Japanese had a statement, step by step you walk the 1,000-mile roads. They probably never spoke about miles, they were maybe metric. But, you know, step by step, you do the 1,000-mile road, and that's what we're on at the moment. We're on a 1,000-mile road, and we've got to take every step. And everybody has got to sort of shoulder a bit of the burden, or you just look and you're going to end up losing everything. I mean, we were talking about being offended earlier. I am so offended with the apartheid schooling in this country. You know, I become incandescent with rage, Chris.
Oh, you're opening a can of worms here, mate. You're opening a can.
But I've said before on different radio shows and all the rest of it, I'll say it here as well, we are going to become like South Africa, where the majority, where the indigenous population is going to be run by a minority.
Yeah.
And the apartheid schooling in this country is the root cause in 90% of the sectarian problems in this country.
Well, we hear people on a weekly basis saying having Catholic schools, that in itself is sectarian, surely. It's creating a sect.
Well, we know where that
it's an argument. It's an argument that you hear in pubs constantly. You hear in social gatherings constantly. And it's absolutely going to be an argument that we are constantly going to be having on our political shows. I absolutely know that is going to be brought up.
I don't see it as being an argument. I think, you know, everybody's going to be sort of...
But debate then. I shall choose my words more carefully.
Well, no, but I don't think even that's going to be a debate. It's possibly going to be a constructive conversation about the best way to fight it, because everybody in the PEL community is in agreement with it.
Schools I want to watch. I mean, there we go, right? We had a newspaper.
Chris, I'll need to go and mute me. I'm going to have a coughing fit here, pal.
Oh, that's no worries at all. You can cough away, die quietly. But I mean, there we go, right? We're having a newspaper print not too long ago that there is a teacher in a certain school, and that teacher is a big sympathiser with Irish Republicans, IRA, different things like that. You know the sort, no dynasty king. She's writing about all this, and she's absolutely vicious. You can see on her tweets and her social media posts and things. She gets outed, right?
When she was outed, they disappeared. Did you notice that?
Absolutely, yeah. But then, what we're seeing is, even with we've got kind of segregated schools and things, so we've got Catholic schools. We really need to watch whoever's responsible for teaching our children, because when our children go into school for 6 hours a day, we're no longer responsible for what they are learning. We're putting our faith in the education system, that they have vetted their teachers who are responsible for our kids.
Wait, can I stop you there, Chris, and throw a couple of questions at you?
Aye, go for it.
Right. If you're non-Catholic, can you be a head teacher or a headmaster or a religious education teacher at a Catholic school? The answer's no. The answer is no.
It's great you saved me there. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure in this day and age.
If you were a member of Catholic, and if you're a Catholic, can you become a headmaster, head teacher, or a religious education teacher at a public school?
Absolutely, because
the answer is yes.
It's sectarian to say no, isn't it?
That's correct.
It's funny, all these things, and I think the more that our background team here, the staff of the radio, the more that we do some digging and kind of get our different shows kind of structured and different things, I think we're going to be able to see a lot more of these kind of differences and kind of it's one rule for them, one rule for us, and it's them and us. Let's not kind of beat about the bush. It is absolutely them and us.
Would that be a reasonable freedom of information request, asking the Scottish secretary, the education secretary in Holyrood, how many non-Catholics are head teachers, headmasters, headmistresses, and religious education teachers at Catholic schools?
I wouldn't say it's not a worthwhile venture to go down. I would say it's absolutely worthwhile. I mean, it's just one of these things. It is something to think about the schooling, because see, go back to this teacher, okay, this little rebel teacher. Has she influenced any of her class? Say she's maybe talking about kind of history or talking about certain subjects. Is there certain things that she's planted in, even little subtle things, into her classroom, which has been picked up? You never know. You absolutely don't.